Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Gamer's Perspective podcast. I'm your host, Jake.
I'm your co-host, Lykios.
And we will be discussing multiple different issues surrounding video games, such as social and political issues,
representation of the disabled,
LGBT issues,
and anything else that comes to mind or is tangentially related.
Now, we hope to provide a little entertainment to your daily grind sessions, so relax,
sit back, and enjoy the discourse.
Thanks, guys. The following podcast is intended for mature audiences and contains references to adult content, LGBT discussion, graphic language, and profanity. Viewers' discretion is advised.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Gamer's Perspective podcast. This is episode 2, where we will be discussing the good, at least the good side, of villains.
It's a little bit counterproductive on that one, but here we're going to try all the same.
The oxymoron was intentional.
Yeah, a little bit. Now, we've took some feedback from what we got from the last episode, and we've kind of reworked how we're going to do this a little bit. We definitely want to hear your opinions on that, though, so feel free in those comments below or contact us directly and just let us know what you think of the new setup.
But comments that are left below, if they're questions or something, will get read at the beginning of the show.
Yes, indeed, including the fact of Lykios completely messed up the force of a railgun, but we'll let him away with that one.
Yeah, it was only the only functioning railgun currently will shoot through 3 plates of sheet steel, not 3 meters, which is a big difference, by the way. But that's still powerful, and still a handheld railgun would still perforate a xenomorph.
It's a great start to the episode where we're talking about villains, isn't it, everyone?
Well, a xenomorph is technically a villain, is it not?
No, it is, but it's funny to talk about villains and then talking also about killing people through 3 sheets of steel. So,
you do realize that there really is a railgun on an American battleship, right?
I know, but at the same time,
we also have a laser gun. We also have a laser cannon on another battleship.
Laser cannon.
Oh, no, it really is an actual laser.
Like
it is real.
Star Wars? Star Trek style?
No, that would be those are more plasma. We're talking an actual light beam that destroys what it hits.
Okay.
And we have one. Do you know why it's almost never used?
Because I imagine it doesn't stop once it starts.
No, the power requirements are obscene.
Yeah, it makes sense though. If you need to get such a concentration of light, I imagine it's not exactly like using an LED bulb.
Yeah. The power requirements for these weapons are obscene, which is why they are pretty much never used. But we still have them. We keep them. America keeps them in functioning order for some reason. I mean, have you ever heard of the Tesla death ray? This is real. And someone actually found out the power requirements.
Okay, we promise we're talking about villains in video games, by the way, in this podcast, not in real life. But now that I know that this is a thing, I'm terrified. Yes. I knew that there are lasers or some sort of weapons floating in the space. But we can also just be shot by some
but we
lasers.
do have but the U.S. did try to make Project Odin, which got referenced as Project Thor in one of the Call of Duty games. I forget which one, but it literally was the exact same thing. So close that the U.S. government almost went after Activision for national secrecy.
Okay, so I imagine this was before that was released to everybody then? That they or did they
just guess? Didn't know about it. They guessed, but they got it so close that the U.S. government actually questioned them.
It's like,
at
how
least
did you know about this?
Believed.
Literally,
but it was literally it was a kinetic-based weapon where all they would do is release these tungsten spikes and just let gravity pull them into the ground. There was no propulsion or anything like that. Therefore, it did not violate the Star Wars treaties.
The Star Wars treaties.
No, I don't remember what they're officially called, but they're just generically known as the Star Wars treaties. They're the treaties that prevent countries from putting weaponry in space. Now, but they are very specific. It cannot be propulsion, light-based, basically, so you can't put missiles in space. They were exploiting a loophole by using a gravitational weapon. It literally just released the spike, and let gravity pull it to its target.
Every day, I think I'm living in a The Onion article. I swear,
this was a real project.
I'm going to cut this. No more of this, because I'm going to end up just hiding on my bed after talking to you. This is what I have to deal with this man on a regular basis, people.
Oh, you want to top that?
No.
I know. I'm not gonna. No, I'm gonna tell you this. I got a friend who told me about this shit. Who knows far more?
Okay, they're not welcome on this podcast. Only for my own
no, he won't talk shop. That's when you get him talking shop. He won't talk shop if you don't ask him to.
Okay, unlike yourself.
But he basically says, and you wonder why I don't sleep much.
Well, listen, I like my sleep. As I previously told you, I ended up having a 16-hour nap yesterday.
Which is why this is being recorded a day late.
Yeah, I'm sorry, okay? But even so, I like
you learned the shit and you know it.
Yes,
you should have had you should have had your partner send me a message. You see, that's why we're going to do this in the future. If you can't make the meeting, he'll send me a message so that I know not to wait around all day.
I'm sorry. Right, okay, this is getting on beat on Jake here. I don't like it. Right. Okay, I'm gonna hang up. Bye. Podcast is over. I'm going to mute this and just have a few minutes later pop up. Just of you ending with you laughing again.
Hey, I had to channel my inner Mark Hamill, didn't I?
You do this every
is
episode
villains.
Now.
That's going to be a running thing, I think, especially for villains. Especially for villains, I need to lean into my inner villain.
Sounds like a plan. All right. Anyway, so we're going to get started on these.
The reason I play the evil protagonist in RPGs when I can.
See, I can never do it. But I always play the one that's like nice to a point, and then I get overly brutal.
I prefer to go path of full closed fist in Jade Empire, which is the evil guy. It's like, how does this benefit me? Oh, it doesn't benefit me? Screw you, you're dead. I'm going to loot your body now.
All right, back to the podcast, sir.
Right.
So we've got a few lined up here, and we've actually got a bit more than what we had last time, but we're hoping to give a bit more information with them as well. So as I said previously, make sure to tell us if you like this setup. If it's a bit too much, a bit too little, just feedback is appreciated. We're trying to get this started off right.
All right, so our first will be the Mastermind Archetype. And yes, archetypes, because villains really are archetypes. You can't do things like the hero's journey or the speaking versus the silent villain.
Yeah, not really. The whole point of a villain in the first place is someone for the protagonist to fight against. So they're always going to have a certain click to fit in depending on the game that they pick. And we're going to actually start off with, as like you said, the mastermind. The person in the background controlling everything who doesn't like getting their hands dirty until it's too late.
Or unless they need to.
Yeah,
or unless it's part of their plan, actually. The mastermind will also plan sometimes to get their hands dirty or to show themselves just to further their goals. Yeah. I think I'll let you start this one, Jake.
Oh, okay. I have picked one that I know if you've ever played the Kingdom Hearts series before, you're going to cry. Xehanort from the Kingdom Hearts series. He is the protagonist of every damn game that has been made so far, and
even infinite memory of. Well, whatever the fuck the one on the GBA was. Those handheld ones had absurd titles.
They really did. It's Chain of Memories, and technically speaking, yes, through his subordinates, shall we say. Xehanort, who originally was actually voiced by Leonard Nimoy, who unfortunately, when he then passed, He was then replaced by someone else. Don't ask me the name. It wasn't Leonard Nimoy, so I didn't care. I'm sorry. I have always been a Leonard Nimoy fan.
Leonard Nimoy is awesome.
Yeah, but Xehanort. Oh, sorry, it was Christopher Lloyd. My apologies. Sorry, Christopher Lloyd. The way Xehanort kind of was the mastermind of the whole thing is that if he wasn't there, there wouldn't have been a game. And it wasn't that Xehanort himself was the main reason to do it. The main character had no idea about who the hell this guy was for about 4 games in. It was that every action had been planned. And that's the purest point of the mastermind. Every action, every decision was planned. Even when he was defeated, like he is a boss at the end of almost every single game, bar, as you said, Chain of Memories. It was one of his subordinates you had to fight there. And it was needed. He needed to be beaten so that it would continue his plan, which if you plan to die to then come back stronger than ever, I feel like that's just like perfect plan. It's just
that's the definition of a master plan, of a mastermind. That's, I would say he's probably one of the best masterminds we could have picked in video games.
I really, to this day, would have loved to sing just like one of those wee comedic skits that you see sometimes in these big games, and just have him like with a big board of Xehanort's plan, and it's just got those wee wires everywhere with all these things, and it takes up like half a wall of the castle. I would have paid to see this, because to this day there are still some questions where we're just like, wait, what?
Especially graphic artists to your sketch pads.
Well, to be fair, it was I'm counting in my head here. I think about the 7th game they introduced time travel, at which point, like, I don't know any Kingdom Hearts fan who goes, this makes sense. It was just honestly, okay, so we're not
I think I went over in the last episode my feelings on time travel, didn't I?
Yeah.
How it often feels just like the lazy, we done fucked ourselves into a corner. Okay, now how do we fix this? Time travel.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, the final game of Kingdom Hearts, where you beat Xehanort for the final time, it had a nice round off. That's the way I could say it. It ended on a good note there. He actually died, right? But his entire 3rd game was his plan coming to fruition. It was literally the power of friendship who defeated him. Pure JRPG style.
Pure anime bullshit. Says an otaku.
Yeah, but you have to admit, like, if you ever say Kingdom Hearts, it's just pointy hair everywhere, or you're bald, which is Xehanort. He's just bald head, and that's immediately you see bald, evil. That's just how JRPGs work. If you're bald, you're a bad person, and you're going to murder people, or else you're about to be murdered as like a side character. That's usually how it ends up going.
Okay, so I think we need to go. So I think now that we've covered who he is, I think we need to cover our points here. Yes, this is how we're going to be doing things, is covering these by points.
Yes, just to make sure everything's tidied up a little bit more.
Yeah.
So
why did you pick this character?
So Xehanort I picked because he was almost the most purest definition of a mastermind that I could possibly find in my library, which is strenuously JRPG. He fits more than any of the other categories that we picked. He's also one of the most, I could say, iconic masterminds of the JRPG realm. So he would be one of the ones a lot of people come to whenever thinking of a mad plan, even though it's mainly the game developer who can't make up his damn mind from one game to another what he wants to bloody well do. And now, another thing as well is actually how Xehanort affects the world. How it goes from one game into another, and it's all him who has affected it. There's nothing that he hasn't touched. And I know that sounds very creepy. If you've ever seen this character, he does this weird finger thing as well, which is just like pedo bear number. Like, I'm sorry, it's just pedo bear hands. I don't appreciate it. Like, have you ever seen Mr. Burns do that like finger tap thing and he goes excellent?
Salad fingers.
Oh no! Fingers. Yeah, it's just like wiggle. It's horrible. I told you I have a thing about tentacles, and like it reminds me too much. But Xehanort is the cause of all trouble that ever pops up in this game, and it's one of those things of where you assume it's him if you're a veteran of these. But you had no clue if you played if that was your first Kingdom Hearts game. You played it all the way through, and it took to the end to go, oh wait, that was that prick. So good mastermind on that front. He tidies up for himself well. Actually, the final thing as well about it is that Kingdom Hearts 3 was the end of a saga. They called it the Dark Seeker saga, and that was the end of it. He was used, though, for the introduction for the new saga that they're bringing in. Kingdom Hearts loves to do this thing like a Marvel film, where after the credits, they have a final scene. And it also...
That's referred to as a stinger.
A stinger. And for some strange reason, they are obsessed with him and his friend back when they were children. The friend was the mentor for the good side, while Xehanort, bad side. And when they were children and they're playing chess, and then all of a sudden they end up saying, "Oh, I've got a new game to play. Just watch." And it then cuts to black. And we're just sat there going, "Wait, what? Why? Why are you doing this?" And that's Kingdom Hearts.
We're best friends, young old man. Yes, we're best friends, young Ganon. If you've seen Legend of Neil, you get the same. And tell me it doesn't, and tell me that doesn't reek of that scene.
No, it very much does. And it's like, I totally get it. If anyone who's never played Kingdom Hearts, you don't understand it, and don't worry. Most of us who have played all of the games, I've emulated what I couldn't get, and I still don't understand half of
Don't pirate, kids. Don't pirate, kids. But make sure you keep your emulation strong for those games that aren't archived somewhere where we can all play them.
Exactly. We have no GameStop up here. I'm trying to find a Game Boy cartridge is like finding gold dust. So meets must. Although I will freely say there are certain games I watched, I never played. I think it was 358 by 2 days. Don't ask.
That's
it was just
the one with the fuck title I was talking about, right there.
No, I have to ask you then, like, from listening to me, because I know that you haven't really played all the Kingdom Hearts games. Or have you ever even played one? If you don't mind.
I played some of the first one. The game glitched.
Was it the Tarzan level?
After that,
okay.
Right after that, it glitched and it would not let me progress to the next area. I completed Alice in Wonderland. I completed Tarzan, and then it would not let me progress. Yep. So I returned the game to Family Video. God, remember renting games from video stores? Wow, I feel old.
Yeah.
Yes, kids. Back in our day, we could rent them video games physically from a thing called a video store.
You know what's the worst thing? I still think I have the Rugrats, the movie from Extravision, which was our version of like Blockbuster, I think it would have been over with you. And like, I still have one of the copies, and I'm like, thank God they went to the administration. Could you imagine the interest I had from that? So I think I was like 7, and then we moved house, and I forgot to return that, and it's just sat in my house somewhere. Sorry, Extravision. I didn't mean to steal. But no, that's fair. If you've never played Kingdom Hearts, don't worry about it. It is chock-a-block. It's the main developer, Tetsuya Nomura, freely has admitted beforehand that he has rewritten the script about 4 times for that damn game.
Actually, that was something I wanted to ask you about. They made that one on the Switch. Is that like a compilation of all the old games?
Made what on the Switch?
A Kingdom Hearts game.
Did they? Oh yes, there's a new one that came out. It's a rhythm game, and it's a spin-off.
The one on the
after
Switch.
The third one.
The one on the Switch is a rhythm game.
As far as I'm aware, it's Melody of Memories, I think it's called.
Let me see.
Melody of Memory, yeah.
Yeah, it's the rhythm game. Never mind, don't care.
No, to be fair,
I was hoping they released the trilogy on the all-in-one on the Switch. Okay.
That is a wrong thing to say, my friend. If any Kingdom Hearts fan sees you, it's like, actually, it's only 3rd on the title. It's actually been 9 games now, including a damn mobile game.
Which nobody played.
Oh, this is a hint to any game developers who ever watch this, if they're looking at through archive or whatever. If you put main story stuff in a mobile game, you're
done fucked up.
Y'all done fucked up. You might as well put it in a pachinko machine. Like, why? Like, I am not
90%
going to...
of your audience is not going to. 90% of your audience, which are hardcore gamers, aren't going to go near that fucking thing.
No, let's be real, okay? We're going to do a full series about mobile games at a later point. But
I don't think we'll do a series. We'll do an episode, but
yeah.
I'm not doing a full series of episodes on mobile games. I don't go near them enough, and you don't either. And so we're doing one episode, and that's final.
Okay, but what I was going to say is that mainly mobile games are for when you're on the crapper or if you're on the bus. That is literally the only real times that you play a mobile game. That, or you're bored watching a TV show that your partner's put on and you couldn't give a shit, so you're wanting something to do. And those are
even then, I grab my Switch and I play some Slay the Spire when I'm on the crapper.
Exactly. So
because the Switch is fucking awesome.
See, even if they were to do like another Nintendo one, because they split between the few. They did a few on the PSP and PS Vita, but they ported them very quickly.
Rest in peace, PSP, PS Vita.
Yeah, like I actually did enjoy those games. They just didn't have enough good games. It's kind of like putting The Witcher on the Switch.
I didn't put the money into it because it was too expensive, too hard to find, and then there wasn't enough on there to make me want to spend that money on a console.
Exactly, and some of the things they did were ports of games that didn't run well. Witcher 3 on the Switch. Like,
actually, I've heard that port runs pretty cleanly for what they were able to do. It just doesn't look pretty.
Yeah, but that's the whole point. It's like the game is supposed to be graphically pleasing to look at. It wasn't really built to be on the Switch in the first place. If they had done a graphic downgrade and actively like made it to look
it's just
clear,
it's just texturing. It's just texturing. That's all. But it still comes out clean. It's just the textures aren't as vivid as they are on the other versions because it's a Switch. But you know what? They made it work, and I still feel the company that managed the porting still needs an applause for making that work.
Yeah, fair enough. And
without it hiccuping or having frame rate problems either.
Yeah, no, I give them that. I'm sorry, I actually had to Google this as well. I can't believe it. They put Skyrim on the Switch as well.
Yeah, early on, and you can get the Hylian Shield and Master Sword as Switch exclusives.
Sorry, people, I'm literally just giving up. Bethesda, get a new thing. Just please give.
No. Wait. I'm waiting for Skyrim on your refrigerator.
Oh, that running joke. What about Skyrim on your GPS in the car?
Don't tempt them. They actually might try that.
Well, I'm surprised they haven't made a Skyrim Go yet, like they did Pokemon Go, and you have to go around and capture things. Oh, I put that in the air now. I'm so sorry, people. Right, anyway, that is my choice for the Mastermind. I believe it's a good enough choice, but I freely admit it is a bit niche because it's Kingdom Hearts, which is Disney meets Final Fantasy, although not a lot of Final Fantasy in the third one. Kingdom Hearts 3. So
and sorry, fangirls, no Sephiroth.
Yeah, that was the sad one. There's a lot of Sephiroth in the second one, though. We appreciated that. But
he's overrated as shit, and you know it.
He
is.
No, yes.
He's not bad, but he's overrated.
I will say that him in those games, like in Kingdom Hearts 2, for instance, they made him as badass as he should have been for the hype that he was, because holy pants did he just wipe the floor with you a million times before you got his attacks down right. But yeah, I think it's like it's one of those things of Pokemon for Pikachu and Charizard, Sephiroth for Final Fantasy. It's just overused and not interesting. It needs to stop.
Yeah, give me my Lucario, my Scizor any day.
Right. Anyway, moving on.
I will batter you down with Megas.
Go with yours there, like yo.
All right. So for my Mastermind, I picked Ganondorf, not Ganon. Ganondorf. Do not get A confused with B.
I got them confused and I got attacked for it. And I am sorry.
He did. So I picked Ganondorf, and I feel like the best example really of this comes from Ocarina of Time. Now, Wind Waker is another good example, but Ocarina of Time is his best time to shine as the Mastermind.
Excuse you.
Sorry about that. Because what he does, he manipulates everything. he pretends that he is loyal to the King of Hyrule. We literally get to see him bowing his head to the King of Hyrule, even as he is planning things. He goes around causes problems for these different races, but then just fucks off and lets it because he knows that there's a hero coming, and he just lets you, the hero, do all the work because he knows if you really pay attention to it. It seems like he demanded it, but was trying to demand the stones and just lashed out and when you couldn't get them. But if you really pay attention, he kind of planned that, and then he decides to fuck off and let the hero gather stones, and he just waits patiently while manipulating everything behind the scenes, having his armies attack you and attack the people of Hyrule whenever they go out into places. But the Hylians, specifically the Hylians, have no fucking clue that this is going on. Now, the Zoras and the Gerudo, they know because he approached them directly and wasn't so cloak and dagger about it.
Yeah. So sorry, I have to just point out very quickly when you were saying about Ganondorf just fucking off. You know that like meme of the black kid who just gives the peace sign and just fades away into nothing? That's literally what I just pictured in my head, and him just going peace.
except big green ginger man.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, look, ginger representation.
Oh yes, finally.
In a badass villain.
Yes, just more gingers, please. Gingers can be bad guys too here. Instead of just being
usually the gingers are the bad guys.
No, usually the gingers are the hot, sexy woman standing beside the big bad guy, and I'm like, no, give me a proper bad guy here.
Yeah, and then we get Ganondorf.
Yeah, the one
so,
that's good.
Let's see. I think that covers the main stuff of how he fits, because he doesn't really get his hands dirty until he needs to. Mm-hmm. If you really think about it, getting his hands dirty is him messing with the Zoras and the Gorons, and then just piecing out to let the hero solve the problem and be given the stones. He knows he can't get the Ocarina of Time. He can't just take it. So he waits until his moment is right. He manipulates the royal family, all the while planning his things. He manipulates the hero by having you open the door that he couldn't open, and then just boom. Okay, hey bitch, I'm here. You're incapacitated. Triforce, yoink.
Yeah, it's just kind of like hero does his pass out thing, and then it's just like, well, I'm just going to take that and just mosey on out of here. Why not?
Yeah, and armies. And about the armies. Let's see. Bokoblins, Bokoblins, Moblins. I can go on and on, people. I can name pretty much every cannon fodder class enemy in Zelda, I think, at this point. The simple point is, armies. This bitch got them. Sorry to those who would get offended by the term bitch, but Jake and I still use it.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things. As long as we're not calling anyone it, I don't see an issue.
Yeah. So on to the points that I have to cover here. Mm-hmm. Why did I pick him? I picked Ganondorf, honestly, because it's very hard to find a good mastermind outside of JRPGs, I feel. It just is.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they don't exist, and there are probably some that people could drop in the comments that I just brain farted on and didn't remember. And when they mention them, I'm going to kick myself. Please do, by the way. I'd love to be reminded of ones that I've forgotten.
Yeah, well, you're not looking at me for this because I don't remember either. So
yeah,
please.
But all you know is JRPGs, motherfucker.
Here, they're good games. Shut up.
I'm not dissing on them. I'm just saying that's your wheelhouse.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's see. How the villain affects the game or world. Let's see. He manipulates everything, especially in Ocarina of Time. He kind of let's see. He takes the Triforce of Power, and then when you wake up 7 years later, it looks like the fucking apocalypse. I'd say that's manipulation at the core. The world's fucked. So yeah. Does that define manipulating the world?
A little bit. I would say it just about hits the mark.
It kind of looks like high fantasy Fallout. You literally exit the Temple of Time, leave the area into the main city square of Hyrule, and all you have are zombies walking around. Yeah. Need I say more?
Yeah, things went bad.
Oh, they went to hell in a handbasket.
A little bit. See, Ganondorf's always been a really interesting bad guy because he's never been like the grr, if that makes any sense. He's not there like grunting
Not until the end.
at the character.
Not until the end. In your final confrontations with him, that's when he does that because he's had enough. He's like, okay, I did all this shit, and now you still made it here? I've had enough of your shit. Yeah. I'm putting you down.
But until then, he still managed to keep that smug arrogance the entire way through.
Look at Wind Waker for that. Look at how he is in Wind Waker. He literally gets attacked by a dragon, and you wield the one weapon that can attack. Well, first you wield the one weapon that can stop him, and he just bats it aside and knocks you across the room like a doll. Which, let's be honest, you kind of look like one in Wind Waker. But anyway. And then a dragon shows up. You and Tetra are whisked out of there by birds. His fortress is just set on fire.
Yep.
And he's just like, well, that was mildly inconvenient. Moving on. Now to the next phase of my plan.
Yeah.
You have just done exactly what I wanted you to do.
See, and that's mainly the good show of a mastermind is that you playing the hero as a fiddle. Because
exactly. And both of ours, I feel like, do that pretty damn well. I think yours does it better. But I'm sorry, any villain who can plan their own defeat only as an intentional furthering of their plans, that is a good example of a mastermind.
True, but then again, that only really works whenever time travel is involved or something to that effect. And it's like, let's not
looking at you, Chaos. Looking at you, Chaos from Final Fantasy 1.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong, but we don't talk about that.
It was the original Final Fantasy. True. It deserves talking.
No, yes, but it's just in general, the very bringing up of time travel in video games just gives me a hernia.
You see, I'll give the original Final Fantasy a pass on that because it was before it was this overused trope to fix shit.
Yeah.
And they intentionally wrote it in right off the bat in that game as a plot device.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't shoved in the fifth game in the story, in a continuing story to fix shit like Kingdom Hearts did. That's why I give Kingdom Hearts shit is because they don't mention it. It's not a thing until the fifth or sixth game or something, where it's like, oh, by the way, this is a thing. That just shows that you wrote yourself into a corner.
Little bit. I can't even deny that, and I'm a diehard Kingdom Hearts fan. I love them so much.
But if you establish it early on, like within the first game or the second game of a story, we can give it more leeway as long as you don't completely fuck it up.
Mm-hmm.
And because you establish it early on that this exists in this world,
Yeah.
That's why I make my demarcations of good time travel use, bad time travel use.
But you have to admit, good time travel use is far and few between.
Yeah. and then we have Majora's Mask, which is all about time travel, motherfucker.
Yeah, but you're a Zelda diehard fan, so no one can say anything against it anyway. Not to
no.
I
I won't defend bad Zelda work.
All right, everyone. So moving on to our next topic is the mustache twirler villain.
I'll get you, He-Man.
We all love you, Skeletor, although you've been mean to death.
And we love every one of them.
Absolutely. But with the mustache twirler, as you can well imagine, it's the comic relief villain, the one who's pretty much not much more than a nuisance to the main character. He's just
but still
there.
A threat if left unchecked.
Yep, it's just the acne villain dropping anvils on people until eventually kicked off a cliff.
Holds up random sign.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, moving into this pretty quickly, we're going to let Lykios go first with his pick. So head on over.
All right. So I could have picked a lot, honestly, but I had to go with a little bit of a favorite. Dr. Nefarious from Ratchet and Clank. I mean, do I need to say more? His name is fucking Dr. Nefarious. Kind of puts the name on the tin, doesn't it, right there?
Little bit, yeah.
I mean, subtlety? He doesn't know the meaning of the word. But let's see. I mean, honestly, the Mustache Twirler was just such a fun villain. Though, I'll be honest, whenever I think the Mustache Twirler, I think Snively Whiplash first.
Yeah, just a little bit. I just have to say, I looked up Dr. Nefarious, by the way, because I couldn't remember his look from the very beginning, and he looks exactly as you might think him to. It's just very much on the nose.
But going on, I mean, does Dr. Nefarious really have much of a plan otherwise? Mwahaha! I'm evil. I'm going to turn everyone to robots because robots. I mean, we get the backstory in a later game of why he's a robot even. He used to be organic and somehow now he's a robot, which they're really vague about how that worked.
Yeah.
But it's still fun. And I think the best fun point is he gets angry and sometimes the gears will catch in his head like a broken clock and he just freezes up and out of his mouth comes really, really bad parody of soap opera. And his butler, who is the real brains in the room, gets to hit it. Just there's a scene that always stands out. Oh, this is my favorite part of the day. And he just hits him in the head to knock the gears loose.
Oh, that's so good. A minion whose whole job is just there to knock someone over. That's brilliant.
Oh, well, he also executes a lot of Dr. Nefarious' plans and shit.
Yeah.
But, I mean, his plans are so half-assed, which is kind of the definition of a Mustache Twirler. Yeah. They don't have this grand scheme. It's half-assed because I'm going to try this until it works. They throw shit at the wall until it sticks.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, when it doesn't work, then he just cries and is a big bad loser.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, last we saw Dr. Nefarious, I don't count All for One, thank you. He was on an asteroid, drifting away with his butler while his butler tried to tune a base in space.
Shooting a base in space.
Space. Would that make it space base?
Or base space?
This is the base base. Base base? At least it sounds good. As long as you have a couple of good bases, that sounds fucking great.
Well, just the one, it's just gonna go dum dum dum. Yeah.
Have you ever heard an actual good bassist play? I mean, fucking seriously.
Yes, I have a few.
Glorious.
Mm-hmm. But we can definitely bet the minion of a Mustache Twirler may not be the best bassist in the world.
Actually, funny thing, he actually does turn out to be a good bassist.
Does he actually?
Yes.
So he's just in the middle of like beating up his master so that he can knock the cogs loose. He's practicing. Fair enough.
No, actually, he gets interrupted at one point, tuning his bass.
Oh, right.
And he's like, "Fine, sir," and he pushes the button. He's like, "Lawrence, push the button."
Fine.
Lawrence. And we cut over to Lawrence, and he's tuning his bass. Lawrence! Fine, sir. Right away, sir. Pushes the button. Trap springs. Trap springs. But, yeah, I mean, his general demeanor is just angry.
Yeah.
It's comedic. I mean, if you've played any of the Ratchet and Clank games and seen Dr. Nefarious, it's comedically bad. His planning, everything, and you love every minute of it. You can't help but love every minute of it.
Please tell me Ratchet and Clank just kind of look at some of these things and just go, "Is he stupid?"
Oh no, that actually does come up. That does come up at points. I mean, he literally hires a fucking pop star at one point.
Oh,
as
okay.
to help brainwash people. It's dumb.
Okay. Well, listen here. It's
I need to
21st
go over my
century. It could
points
work.
though.
Yeah, I think so. So first of all, then, why did you pick this character?
Why did I pick this character? Because he's stupid, he's fun, and his name is Dr. Nefarious. Kind of hits the nail on the head too well, and I could not pass that up.
Yeah.
Plus, we've got a new Ratchet and Clank game coming up for the PS5 people with sexy female Lombax.
Yes.
How can I pass this up?
And I have to say that, like, traveling through portal thing looked amazing. I am desperate to see this.
And the fact that it looks so smooth with no loading screens.
Yes.
It just looks like a good game. And I want a PS5. There's nothing great on it yet. But we know there's good shit coming. And backwards compatibility is a thing, guys.
See, this is the thing where I say that I did manage to get a PlayStation 5. Normally, just like everyone else, I tried my best and I was actually able to manage to get one. Like the day before Christmas. But there's not a lot of games on it yet. So I kind of feel like I overshot my mark on this one because it's like I could have waited and had that money for around Christmas time.
Plus, a lot of its features aren't available that they advertise aren't even available yet. They're coming in later firmware updates.
And there's only like 2 to 3 games right now that I have that actually utilize that whole trigger thing on the controller.
The haptic feedback?
Yeah, like there's a game, obviously Spider-Man, which I will tell you now, get me proper finger cramps because I was continuously. It gets harder to hold when he's swinging, and your fingers just are left cramping like hell. Yes, I know how dirty that sounds.
Fingers. I have good fingers.
Okay.
And I know how dirty that sounds. Fuck you. I do massage work.
But there's also
I am
another
very
game.
skilled at massage work.
I'm sure you are, sir.
Oh, no, I actually am. I have helped a friend who has scoliosis, and she didn't have back problems for a week. And her spine does a complete C shape to the side.
Oh, okay. That's imagery. But I will say there was another game that recently came out, Maquette, which was like a PlayStation Plus one. And it utilized the controller thing as well. It's actually quite fun, but it's all puzzle. It's like one of those like storytelling things.
Oh, you like puzzles? Play Puss.
PUSS.
PUSS! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Exclamation point!
Okay. See, I come onto this stream and end up leaving with like 3 games to look up.
So, how the villain affects his game world? Dr. Nefarious affects it by the standard mustache twirler villain. I'm going to conquer everything. I will rule the world or the galaxy or whatever. That's literally all he does. That's the only way to cover that point is I am going to rule the galaxy. Because I want to.
Yeah.
There's nothing else. I'm sorry. The mustache twirling villain is very one-dimensional. It's what makes them both annoying and fucking glorious.
See, this guy sounds so good. I wish I've actually played more of the Ratchet and Clank series because it sounds so much fun.
Do you have a PS2? Do you have a PS2 or PS3?
I have a PS3 collecting dust somewhere that I can dig up.
Oh, yeah, and you can get the original 3 Ratchet and Clank trilogy on there.
Oh, sweet! Right
in HD. They did an HD collection of the original trilogy. You can't play a lot of the other games that came out later, but you can at least play Ratchet and Clank, Going Commando, Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal. Sadly, you can't play Ratchet Deadlock, which I actually enjoyed. Fuck you who hate it. I like that game.
Right.
You can't play Secret Agent Clank. You can't play Ratchet and Clank Size Matters. That was on the PSP.
So many of these Ratchet and Clank games are so basically innuendic.
That was intentional. That was 100% intentional by Insomniac Games. They intended that from the word go.
I just imagine parents buying this, and it's just like, up your arsenal.
And if you think about it, take the null out, and you just have up your arse.
Yeah, exactly. That's the
which
point.
is great.
Okay.
Interesting points. That's the one problem with this. The mustache twirling doesn't really have a lot of interesting points. They're just, I'm going to do this thing because evil, 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 evil. What's that? It's Tuesday? Evil, evil.
Well, I think an interesting point is that his butler, when he's not helping him, is a very good basis as well. That's a bit of an interesting point in itself, because it may not come up in basic, reviews. It's just like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is cool. I mean, you can play 6 games at least on the PS3. I mean, we have All for One, but we don't talk about that one. And we have Into the Next, well, not Into the Nexus, Battleground or something like that. It was the tower defense one. We try not to think about those. They were some missteps in the series, and they really All for One was just a bad idea. It was a game where they tried to put co-op into it, which in and of itself isn't a problem.
Yeah.
The AI was pretty dumb, and a lot of puzzles required co-op to do. And if you didn't have another person there, you really could not do a lot of the puzzles to 100% the game because the AI is dumb.
Yep.
So that's why I consider that game shit.
That's fair, I suppose. I suppose it just kind of depends on your take on them anyway, because these type of games kind of have the nostalgia thing to fall back on as well.
Yeah, I just said, it's just, you made it so this is 100% the game. I basically need to find someone else to play with on the PS3's ability to find someone else to play with, which we all know how bad that was.
Oh, yeah.
Because you made dumb AI. No, you done fucked up. Ratchet and Clank, it should not be a co-op game. You managed to make it work in Ratchet Deadlock, but it was also a much simpler game in the sense it was all about arenas and in combat. It wasn't about puzzle solving. Other than that, if you're trying to actually make a Ratchet and Clank game in a standard style, just keep it single player, motherfucker. Let's see. How does that quote go? KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah. That's probably the best way to put it.
But I think that'll conclude my talk on the mustache twirler, really.
Well, I have to definitely say, I wish all mustache twirlers ended up having a bassist butler who was able to just tune out their bad guy to tell them to do things. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But go to move on to my one here now. And for my mustache twirler, the one I have picked is Ripto from specifically the Reignited trilogy, so Ripto's Rage, the second game.
So the guy with a height complex.
Yeah, just a bit. Now, the main reason that I actually picked the Ripto was because not only did I find him hysterical throughout the entire of the game, and also because I think he's quite mainstream as a bad guy at the moment, but as well, he's kind of was just...
Didn't he show up in another game later on?
Yes, he did. He showed up in a number of games, actually.
Okay.
But I'm talking specifically about Ripto's Rage, just because this would be one that I think most people would know him by. But FYI, he was also in Enter the Dragon, Attack of the Rhinox, Cortex Conspiracy, all this type of stuff, which were mainly
he became
GBIs.
the kind of reoccurring guy for Spyro games, didn't he?
Yeah, and I don't really know if it was just because of his pure ineptitude that he was just a fun villain to beat around.
Oh no! You see, that's that's another trademark of the mustache twirler. They're often rather inept, and it's the people around, and it's the people who work under them who are smart and getting things done.
Oh well, then Ripto completely goes against that trade because Crash and Crush We're not exactly the smartest one either.
No, I said usually. Okay.
Yeah.
No, it says dumb as Ripto was. His right hand man and left hand man, they were dumber than a box of rocks.
Well, I think at one point one of them eats a box of rocks, so I think that's about six.
Oh yes, yes, he does. So he gets 1 point. Rocks get 0.
Yeah, but specifically in regards to Ripto, I picked him as well because his whole problem.
Sorry, geologists.
But his whole problem is he's literally phobic against dragons. So Spyro, the character, gets trying to find a place to go on holiday, ends up in this world, and the guy is just like, I hate dragons. And then
Dracophobia.
Yeah, it's literally, he took over the world because there was no dragons there, and then Spyro shows up because he's after a holiday, and he's just like, evil dragon. It's like, why am I evil? Because you can use magic and I can't. Yes, he has that scepter thing, but it's like purely known he is shit at magic, which is also why he hates dragons, which I find so funny.
Because they're naturally talented in it.
Yeah, like legitimately, he has to use multiple items just to be able to do something the dragon can do, like breathing fire.
You also skipped your first point.
Well, why I picked kind of comes into that as well.
Oh no. Oh, okay.
So don't worry, mixed matching a little bit. But the way Ripto kind of works is that his whole effect on the world is just simply, it is mine because there are no dragons anywhere. Then a dragon shows up, and he literally has a conniption.
He does too. He fucking does. It's glorious. You'd swear doesn't he actually faint or something?
At one point, he gets knocked flying because he keeps leaving things to crash and crush, and they keep fucking up. And then he gets whacked around the room because of the aftermath. And that's literally why I picked the character. Like, I picked him because it's pure showing. He has no plan. He has nothing. He's just doing this because he likes the world with no dragons and wants to take over it and be a dictator, and he feels miserably at it. The only thing that is worse is the guy who owns everything, Moneybags, is just really surprised anyone's standing up to him at all. This tiny little thing that he could probably drop kick.
It's official that Moneybags does own everything?
Yes.
Oh, God! I thought he was just a parody of a businessman.
No, like, he talks about every palace is his palace, and then Ripto takes it over. And like scares gems out of him and all this type of stuff, and that's why he's then milking you for all your work to get his money back.
I thought he was just a parody of a shady businessman.
See, I think it is as well. I think it's kind of a joke just to say the bank owns everything until a dictator walks in and goes, "Bitch, that's mine," and they're like, "Oh, okay."
Hey, far leftists, here's your communism.
Oh no, don't. We're not going there. No.
I'm gonna
not open those floodgates.
I'm gonna take that jab and leave it.
But,
sorry, I'm also punchy. I've been watching Hajime no Ippo.
Right, fair enough. But
great anime, but we're not on that.
But one of the things as well that kind of needs to be pointed out about Ripto, and it shows up again and again, is that in every single game, he's planning to do something to mess with dragons. He's trying to steal their eggs, he's trying to steal the dragonflies, he's trying to do something along the line to get back at them for his own ineptitude at using magic, because he's a dinosaur, which I love. I'm literally jealous that a dinosaur jealous of dragons. I can't help it. I find it the funniest thing, just because it's like, I want wings too, and to breathe fire. It's like,
can I point out that another example of furries in games? The whole fucking Spyro series.
Yeah, the hunter and the bunny girl and everything was like my first furry game. I swear, it was quite weird. But then again, I think they kind of based that bunny girl off
Notice
of Lola Bunny.
Notice a trend in the 90s and 2000s. There was a lot of furries.
Little bit, and it was like right after Space Jam as well, so around that time. So it was like the whole Lola Bunny looking so much like a game version of the one from Spyro. I don't know whether or not that was supposed to be a thing or that was just situational, but still,
I think situational, but it works.
Yeah, it works. And sorry, my apologies. I have said this wrong. It was gulp and crush, not crush and crash. That was my problem, because gulp at one point actually eats Ripto's scepter because it fell from the sky and he had his mouth open. So that was a thing.
Oh yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
And then he hiccups out magic or something, doesn't he?
No, it's like he ends up dying, and like they end up like half breaking the scepter, so the gem thing just falls out of it, so he can't use magic anymore, and he just like runs away until they get another thing that's more powerful. But even so, it's just kind of very strange that as a mustache twirler, he had a capability to go back to his planet to take, get people to come, and the only thing that really stopped him was the fairies coming to steal the power orbs. But it's like,
because fairies.
Yeah, but because kind of sitting there, it's like, dude could cast magic, and he didn't think to do anything on the fairies. He was just waving his stick around trying to beat them like you do a fly. And I'm just like, yeah.
You're not very intelligent, dude.
No, very much not. And then at the end of the game, whenever you're fighting, he, instead of trying to make something that will actually help him, he makes robot versions of the enemies you've already beaten. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I've beat them once, and now you've made a robot of them who does the same thing. I think I'll be okay. I think I'll be fine.
Yeah, pretty much.
Bar of Terra, they've also added a Velociraptor. No, Pterodactyl. Sorry, Velociraptor. Goodness, you can tell I haven't watched Jurassic Park in a while. But
they got Velociraptors wrong. A Velociraptor would actually be the size of a chicken. What they used were Utah Raptors. But
moving on, they actually added a pterodactyl, as I said, to use for as a flying thing. At which point he also then drops those like things that make it that you can fly permanently instead of only being able to glide. So yeah, just in general, he's a bad villain.
he's an idiot.
Yeah, he's an idiot who's still in charge of most dinosaurs. So you worry about who's the stupid ones then, don't you?
Well, dinosaurs weren't known for their big brains, now were they?
No, and I think it definitely plays the point. But saying that, the sorceress in the third game, the big blue dinosaur, was apparently quite smart. So I'm not sure how well that sits.
Why does she work for him?
No, she doesn't. The sorceress is like in the third game her own thing. She's
the
queen.
Right. She was the big villain of the third one. That's right. Yes.
And it was just like, it kind of went against the grain after that, but I'm just like, maybe Ripto was just like, he failed magic class, and the dinosaur for the sorceress was like a student. Never know. But that is my choice for Ripto, and I believe I've got through everything.
For mustache twirlers.
So, moving on to our next topic then, we are discussing, as like Yo said, the Ancient Evil villain. Now, with the Ancient Evil, most of the time this is not a specific person who showed up within the player's lifetime, the protagonist's lifetime.
This is more of a malevolent force.
Yes, something
I think it's the best way to describe it.
Yeah,
something it's like, existential.
Mm-hmm. It's been something that has been trapped, something that has been legend. It's been something that in general has been an overlying shadow on the world, even if it has not been generally affecting. And then when it comes into full force, fear is known throughout the land.
Because it can't just be stopped.
Exactly. Most of the time for the Ancient Evil, it has to be defeated with a certain weapon or a certain person, or some sort of event needs to occur because
some kind of MacGuffin must be found.
Yeah, exactly. Although I swear, any game that pulls a MacGuffin that isn't an actual MacGuffin, screw you.
Wait, what are you referring to?
No, I just need a game where a MacGuffin actually is a MacGuffin. Like, you just beat to death an Ancient Evil with like a bird and just start smacking them with it.
I think someone's done that somewhere.
If it's not a Conker's Bad Fur Day, then I don't think it's in the right game. I swear, if there's ever a second game, they need to do that.
Yes, agreed.
Okay, we're going to have to start a petition to make Conker's Bad Fur Day 2, where you wield a MacGuffin. Right, but anyway, my choice on the Ancient Evil was the Blight from the Dragon Age series. Now,
which is a good choice.
Well, this is the thing. There is discussion within the Dragon Age fan base and for those who theorize and everything of what the Blight even is. The Blight as a basis is the corruption. It is the darkness. It is the main drive for all bad things happening in the world of Thedas, which is the Dragon Age world. It was a punishment by the all-knowing God, the Maker, as the Chantry is known, the human religion, for being released whenever man stepped on their land. For when man steps onto holy ground where only gods may tread, devastation is what is in its wake.
I forget what the proper quote is for that. There's an actual quote that you're paraphrasing there, and
Yes.
I don't remember the quote.
I know, I completely tore that up. Anyone comments below, let me know how I messed that up, how badly I did. But the corruption itself, the taint, the blight. So a blight is when the taint has went out of control, and it is now caused creatures called darkspawn to spawn from the deep roads, which is like underground systems made by dwarves, to pull
Poor
onto
dwarves. They have to fight it always.
I know. You feel so bad for them. Like the was it the Legion of the Dead who
Yes
have a burial before they go because they know they're going to die in the deep roads eventually.
Yes, they resign themselves on the day they sign up to death. They know I will not be seen again. This is the day I die.
Yeah, and it's just like such a cheerful thing to sign up for. Like the whole dwarven thing, we can go into that at another point. The whole cast
Also, their
system and
armor
all,
looks
but
fucking glorious.
yes, no, that's very true. But going back to the actual,
Usually I put Algrim in as the Legion of the Dead armor because it looks so good on him.
Yeah, I just usually play elves, so I never get a real chance to do it. Usually it's only dwarves.
I said Algrim.
Yeah, but
He
I've
is
always
a
wanted my
dwarf.
character in it as well. Like, I've never been able to get Varric in the Legion of the Dead outfit either, which is quite weird.
Varric.
Varric is in the second game with...
Wait, you can get the armor again in the second game?
No, you can get in the third, but he's in that one as well.
Oh, okay, right. I was like, if I missed the quest for that? God damn it! That armor is so fucking cool looking.
I know it's.
And I know there's the dragon blood armor, but I'm sorry. I think the Legion of the Dead armor looks cooler.
Yes, no, I totally agree. To be fair, there's a certain type of armor which is lyrium coated, that you can get in the third one as well, which is pretty badass. It just looks like veins sticking all around you. It's pretty cool.
Ooh.
Yes.
Anyone getting shale vibes?
Anyway, getting back on point. So the reason that I have specifically chosen the corruption, the blight, is because as an ancient evil, it is sentient. That has been confirmed. The ancient evil aims for certain things. It aims for an archdemon, an old god that is resting below in the deep roads. And when infected, it gains the ability to control the darkspawn. That does not happen on its own.
Which is what leads to what is referred to as a blight by the surface dwellers.
Exactly. A blight would be considered a world war, but caused by blighted people. And darkspawn that are actually able to communicate, which has retained some sort of their sanity, such as the architect and things like that, have talked about the blight being song. It is singing to them and pushing them towards these atrocities.
But some of them can resist it. If Dragon Age 2 is to tell us anything, and well, no, if just the DLC, some of the DLC from the first game is to tell us anything, some of them have the power to resist it.
Exactly. The architect who I was talking to you about, the one with the weird pointy hat thing and the mask.
Yeah, you can sort of make him an ally, if I remember correctly.
It's
you can't make him a party member though, which I still sad.
Yeah, he just works alongside you instead of works against you, pretty much. But the thing as well about the blight is that it's been discovered further along the line. Not only does it take and change a person, like their physical sense, and drives them mad, it even affects spirits as well. The blight is one of the main causes for spirits to turn into demons. So the Fade, which if you have not played the Dragon Age game, I do so wholly suggest that you do. They are fantastic games.
Except Dragon Age 3. Dragon Age 3 is a misstep.
We'll say if you've never played a game of Dragon Age and you played the third one, it's all right. It's just compared to the other two, it's shit.
Yeah, too much big. To quote one of our favorite streamers and YouTubers, too much big, not good.
Yeah, exactly.
Again,
we love you so much.
Like we said in the first episode, if I never have to see another skull binoculars to find glowy bits again, it'll be too soon.
Too right. But as well, one of the main things I need to say about the blight as how it actually affects the world is that it is the underlying cause of turmoil everywhere. The wardens, which are the only main defenders against it, are continuously being messed around in political strife because we need them more than this country, but they turned against us here or didn't help us where we wanted them to help us. Therefore, we're banning them from this country and things like that. The wardens are literally the only ones who can kill archdemons. Kills himself, but as a kamikaze thing. But literally, they are the only way to kill.
They accept that when they accept that when they join. And during the joining ceremony, they accept the fact that we are dying.
Yes, because they are taking the.
It's very similar to Legion of the Dead, if you really think about it. That ceremony is, in a sense, their funeral.
Yeah, but the thing is, as well, is that unlike the Legion of the Dead, where they will only be infected whenever coming in contact with Darkspawn, the wardens gain their strength through the infection itself. They gain it from
the taint into their body to make them stronger.
So they can then sense archdemons and then kill them as well. Because pretty much the rundown of the archdemon death is that if you kill one without a warden involved, it just sucks itself into the next Darkspawn available and changes the body into an archdemon again. If a warden kills it, the archdemon goes into them, and because there's two souls, they cancel each other out. They just kind of explode.
It's matter-antimatter situation.
Yeah, exactly.
But a Darkspawn itself has no soul. That's
exactly.
why it can work that way.
And that's the thing where I say that the fact that the blight, the taint, is capable of actually destroying a soul, because that's what's happened. Like, where did the soul go? It's not like a body died. It changed. So the corruption itself feeds on the souls of those that is affected. And it's actually been shown that lyrium, which is like the magic ore of Thedas.
I think that'll work.
Yeah, I can't go into it too much, and it's because it's already getting boring talking about this as is, but the blight infects it too, which is kind of threw so many questions in the bloody air, because up until now, the only thing that could be affected is the living by blight. So if magic ores being able to be affected too,
what else can be affected?
Exactly. And that's kind of one of the points, and that's kind of why I picked it. It was just such an interesting thing to look at, and I swear to goodness, Dragon Age 4 better be good. It better answer questions.
It's your last chance, BioWare. You
absolute last chance for so many of us. Do not fuck it up.
Yeah, make it a lot more Dragon Age Origins, less Dragon Age Inquisition. Do it right.
Exactly. We want more characters, story,
more character development, less seeky findy collectathon.
And listen, if you're wanting to show off about graphics, fair play, but make sure that your characters are interesting. We don't
want oh god, who is the ghost elf person?
Cool.
You know, we don't need forced representation like that was done ham-fistedly, and we don't need someone like Iron Bull who is kind of rapey.
See, only if you romance him. It's one of those things of if you don't romance him, Iron Bull's class. Iron Bull's great mate. But whenever like the relationship-y thing comes into play, yeah.
You find out that he's kind of rapey, isn't he?
Little bit, yeah. And then, of course, I will also say, if you're going to make romance be an option, let me actually be romanced or romance someone else. Don't just make me choose the correct things again and again and again. Until eventually
and get rid of the fucking dialogue wheel.
Well, no, not even. Just give me options again. Let me know what I'm about to say instead of a bloody mask or something to that effect. But yeah. You know what? Game things like that, dialogue wheels and stuff like that, is an actual topic coming up later on. This is going to be another series where we actually
when we talk about game design mechanics. And things.
Yeah,
game design and mechanics.
But on that lovely note, I'm going to pass over to you, sir. Please, you're in the deep.
All right. So I decided to pick Yami from Okami. Yami is darkness itself. And yeah, it's what it is. All the other bosses you fight in Okami, they are just kind of influenced by Yami, who is this ancient evil of evil. He is this living evil. His whole purpose is destroy. Its whole purpose is just, I'm going to destroy everything because I don't want it to exist. That's kind of his whole purpose.
It's not that he is doing evil acts. It's just he's doing what his nature tells him to do.
Yeah, and if you actually do some deep digging into the philosophy behind all those different forms in the final boss fight, they're all about the problems of humanity. The slot machine, it's about humanity's greed. The one with all the weapons, it's humanity's urge to destroy, and so on. Side note: use the goddamn crescent ability in the boss fight. It's fucking awesome. All your brushstrokes matter in that boss fight. They really do. And they're supercharged. As for his minions, I mean, they're aware of him, but they have their own goals. What they don't realize is that their goals just kind of coincide with his goals in the end. I mean, Ninetales, she wants to, and yes, she wants to rule. She wants to rule over everything, and those who stand in her way die. Orochi wants to become a god. He wants to become a dark god. Those who stand in his way, he kills them. Lechku and Nechku, they want to control everything in a frozen wasteland. And Blight.
Not to be confused with my Blight.
Exactly. He just wants to control everything as well by corrupting it all. Gee, a lot of parallel there, isn't there?
Yeah, just a bit.
But yeah, Yami is just evil and darkness itself. That's all he is. He is just an incarnation of that.
Can I also point out, by the way, just sorry to interrupt, but I do have to say, what is the big deal with a load of Japanese things and giant hands? Right? Pokemon did it. Okami did it. The big bad is a big fucking hand reaching from the sky. I'm sorry. You're giving me tentacle vibes that I don't like it.
Yeah, it's a Japanesey thing. I don't fully get it. If we can get someone who's Japanese, actually, no, seriously speaking, if we can get someone Japanese watching this to actually explain why or try to give us an insight into this, I would appreciate that, actually. I'd actually like to understand this on a cultural level.
See, it's just like, for me, it just feels like someone was traumatized by the Toy Story scene. Whenever it's just the clown, it's just like someone was traumatized that much.
But the thing is, it predates that. It really does.
Let me have a joke. Let me try and be funny for once.
So why did I pick this character? I mean, it's just... I like Okami, okay? Fuck you. Okami's a great game, and if you haven't played it and you like Zelda-type games, you owe it to yourself to play it. Yes. And you have no excuse for gaming it because, let's see, PC. Let's see, it started on PS2, then went to Wii, then went to PS3, then went to PC, Xbox One, and PS4.
And the Switch.
You have no excuse at this point if you are a gamer and like Zelda games and have not played it.
Yes, I truly agree.
Can't say the only excuse you may have is money, and okay, I get that. But otherwise, if it's just because you have no excuse of I don't know what to play it on. The only thing it's not on is mobile. Give them time; they might try it.
Please don't. No, imagine Okami being like stuck behind paywalls. That would be painful.
Don't give me that image, you bastard!
I can ruin any game with bloody paywall shit.
Because paywalls ruin every game.
True enough. Now, the thing as well about Okami is that the name Yami itself literally means darkness, right? That's the name. It's a name on itself. It's not a god. It's just
subtle,
literally
right? It's
darkness.
Subtle, right? He is literally just a god of darkness. He is darkness itself.
Yeah. It's just pretty much naming that
through
dark.
and I feel like you feel that through the entire boss fight.
Mhm.
You are a sun goddess, and the first thing he does is spread darkness all around the fucking arena and steal all your shit because he stole all the light.
I love that so much. It's just, I'm going to take her shit.
It's kind of what he does, and then he
Yeah.
puts it all on these pillars, and you get it back, and then absorbs it into himself, and you get it back slowly as you fight him.
Yeah, but you begin, you're pretty much powerless to most.
You
of the
only
way.
have your wolf kung fu.
Yeah.
Well, wolf karate. Let's keep our cultures accurate here.
Yeah. Although wolf karate would be quite something to see. But anyway, yes.
I believe there's an actual style.
Oh, we're
Anyway.
not getting into that. No. I do not want to be corrected in the YouTube comments. There is such a thing as wolf karate. I'm just saying. A wolf doing karate would be quite interesting to watch.
I mean, there is a style of kung fu based on the tiger.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Now, can I ask you then, just in regards to Yami? Like, there are multiple, like, bad guys. Like, Orochi technically could be considered an ancient evil since he was, like, sealed in the sword, by the sword. So why...
Netsuko and Netsuko were kind of sealed in that temple, so they could be.
Yeah. So why Yami over them?
Ninetales could have been because she kind of lives in Oni Island and was kind of just there for a while.
Yeah.
Kind of trapped there for a while.
So,
but I choose Yami because he's the one pulling the ultimate strings for these people. He, without even having to pull strings, he is omnipresent there in them. And when they are defeated, their darkness returns to him.
Oh, right. Okay. So he's kind of the start and end of their power.
Exactly. He is the alpha and the omega of their situation.
Which is quite funny when we're talking about wills. Okay.
I chose that intentionally. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, do you think you've covered everything?
Yeah. I think I've covered everything I need to cover for this. Okay. Oh, by the way, but on a side note, also, Okami is a fucking beautiful game. That art style.
Yes. Oh, no, I definitely agree with that. It may not be up to everyone's taste because it is a little bit cartoonish, but in general, the art style is fantastic.
That ukiyo-e art style is glorious, and fuck you if you disagree.
Try to be respectful of other people here.
If you're going to say, if you don't like it because it's not your thing, I respect that. If you try to say it isn't good looking because if you try to say it's ugly and cartoony and therefore dumb, fuck you, you're just wrong.
All right.
I'll respect your opinion up to the point where you try to claim objective fact on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so moving on to the Dark Lord. All right, so I'll be starting this one. And I picked one that maybe some of you haven't heard of. Emperor Sun High from Jade Empire. Hashtag needs sequel.
I freely admit I had no clue about this one whatsoever, guys. So I'm learning just the same as you.
It's a great action RPG. This game needs a fucking either remaster in modern graphics. Yes, there's a technically HD version, special edition HD version on the PC and shit, but it's buggy. It needs a proper remastering, and fuck you, EA. Put it on Steam. Fuck your Origins crap. No one likes it. We put up with it. We don't like it. Fuck you. Now, I wasn't sure about this one at first, but the more I thought about it, the more I decided Emperor Sun High very much fits a Dark Lord. Because unlike in the Mastermind, he has no problem getting his hands dirty. I mean, when we find out what's going on, we find out that he wasn't just there. He was fighting. Technically left the fighting to his brothers, but he was there. He is a planner. Though another one of his brothers is the real planner, who you find out he would have fit a mastermind villain. I'm not going to tell this because fucking play the game. I'm not going to tell you how this happens. But there is a real there is both a Dark Lord and a mastermind villain in the same game. Okay? And that is fucking awesome in my opinion.
See, some of the best Dark Lords are also masterminds. That's the thing, is that they both kind of flip between the two. It's not.
No, very much so. That is
Yeah.
the problem with these two archetypes, is they're so hard. It's so hard to find one that is only that, and not kind of both at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I look at our picks. Our picks for the mastermind very easily could have been Dark Lords. Both of them.
Yeah, pretty much actually.
Xehanort very much could have been a Dark Lord. Let's be honest.
No, I do have to ask you, because I don't actually know much of anything about Emperor Sunai from the Jade Empire. I've never played the games. I don't know this. So, what exactly is he like? What was his point in the game?
Now, we need to cover that. His motivations are important. When he started, he was human. He was just a normal human emperor who wanted to help his people because China was suffering a great drought across the entire country for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
This is a world where gods are real. So gods, that's the real reason. Gods, because it was the cycle of things. It had to happen because death and rebirth and all that shit, which the game runs with that theme a lot. But he decided he couldn't stand watching his people die. So he and his army invade the temple of monks who worship the god who could fix this and who would allow this to happen. And they steal the power of the god. No. And not only that, they drag the body of this god, who is a fucking dragon, back to his palace. Cut it open and let its blood run through the city, because its blood is water, pure, crystal clean water.
Right. Okay.
It is a creature. It is an incarnate. It is a water spirit god, basically.
Right, fair enough.
So they cut her open, her, and restore prosperity to the kingdom. But he realizes over time, he holds the power of a god. So he slowly starts basically imbibing the power into himself, and over time kind of goes mad doing so, and decides, I am a god.
Right, okay, so definitely the power going to his head then.
Oh yeah. And then he kind of commands armies to do his bidding. But if you come to his throne room, it's not, he's going to use his power. Sure, he summons minions to fight you first, but it's a case of he uses his power. And before he summons his minions, he literally just waves his hand and he turns your fucking party to stone. He turns all your allies into stone. Because, like, fuck this. I have the power of a god. Fuck all of you. And you break out of the stone.
Right.
But he kind of is just there in that sense. And then you have to fight your way through these minions alone, by the way, to get to the showdown with him. And then after you fight your way through this wave of minions, he decides, I'm done playing with your shit. I'm going to end you myself.
Yeah, fair enough. I kind of love that, though, about the Dark Lords. It's why they're one of my favorite ones out of our pick, is that they aren't going to be all standoffish until the very, very end. Like they do, like, you know what? I am sick to death with these bastards. I'm dealing with them now.
Exactly. He kind of does that.
Yeah.
I mean, the character I picked him because he's just an interesting character, and it's a game that a lot of people haven't played. It was a very overshadowed game overall. Which, by the way, I say this, it originally premiered on the original Xbox, back when BioWare could kick ass.
Those were the days. I
know,
wish those
right?
days.
Uh-huh.
Like, I hope BioWare is aware that even their most diehard fans are about to give up. Just please.
Yeah. Yeah, we are. And he affects the world in every way. He revitalizes a country from death, but in doing so, in what he does, he basically cuts off the gateway between, or bridge as they keep calling it, between the spirit world and the world of the living, meaning the dead can no longer cross over into their resting place, causing ghosts to roam the land. And they start going mad, becoming problems for the living.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I can't really say anything more to that. It's like, yeah, it's pretty clear. It's just, someone's went mad with power, and yeah, you're fucked.
Yeah, he restores the prosperity of greenery and crops to the land, but in doing so, also causes the downfall by making the dead walk among the living.
Yeah, that's not the nicest thing. See, I wish I could have more to say about this particular character, but it's literally just a genre I have never heard of. So unfortunately, I have very little to say on it.
And he really just doesn't care that this is happening.
Yeah, it's just
he really just
I
doesn't.
think I'm right, therefore fuck you.
Exactly. That's kind of his way of thinking.
Which kind of is the Dark Lord as well, is that they are in their own mind doing what they believe is the right thing. Not that it's good for everybody, but it's what needs to happen.
Exactly.
For prosperity or whatever.
Or whatever their reasons.
Exactly. And to be honest, that
reach into your grab bag of reasons.
It's like, I am doing this because no, can't use the evil one, can't use that one, because I am helping everyone else.
Exactly. That's kind of the Dark Lord. It's just how they do things.
Like, even Voldemort in some degree was trying to do that in the Harry Potter franchise. He was literally just like, I will save the wizarding world from the Muggles.
Or another good one, Eric Lansher, aka Magneto.
Yes.
He believed what he was doing was right to help mutant kind. But I think he would fit more in the someone else's hero category, to be honest.
Yes, which is the one coming up next. However,
I'm getting ahead of us. We're getting ahead of ourselves, though.
Yes. First of all, we need to do my pick, which
right, because I think I've covered everything I can cover for this without going anything else. I would cover. I don't want to cover because it goes into spoiler territory that beyond what we've already done. And God damn it, play the game. You can get it on Steam. You can get it on Origins, and I believe you can get it on the Xbox Arcade.
Right, fair
play
enough.
the game. God damn it.
No. I'm saying that for me.
You.
No, I have not enough time in the day.
Yeah, it is a BioWare RPG after all.
No.
And like any good and like the old good BioWare RPGs, it's gonna suck you in. You're gonna be like, I should go to work, but one more quest.
Yes, exactly.
Am I wrong? That's what's gonna happen, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I almost got fired from trying to play Dragon Age Origins the first time around. So
there you go.
So
you just proved my point.
Yep.
So now, moving on to yours.
Yes. Now my one has caused me a bit of grief because so many. I did spot check it with a couple friends of mine, and they couldn't decide whether or not it was more Mastermind or Dark Lord. I'm keeping him here though. It's Shido from Persona 5, specifically Persona 5 Royal.
Do you have a full name by any chance?
Yes, it is Masayoshi Shido. Unfortunately, my Japanese is not the greatest, so
I'd have to see it spelled to tell you how to pronounce that first one. But anyway,
it is Masayoshi. Masayoshi.
Masayoshi, yeah.
Yeah, Masayoshi Shido. Now, most people call him Shido because it's the Shido type thing. He himself is in the game a lot. You actually see him very very quickly into the actual game. However, you don't realize that he is the big bad until quite further along. You actually kind of figure it out really around the same time that, no spoilers, Shido ends up killing his own son. That was the thing. That was definitely a, oh, he's bad. Oh, he's very bad moment.
And it wasn't a mercy killing, like pulling the plug on life support either.
No, this was I'm done with you now type murder. And I was like, okay. Now, with Shido, and the reason why I picked him as a Dark Lord, he does get involved. He is active throughout the whole thing. It's just that you're not fighting him until the end. He is manipulating things in the background. Pretty much Shido's background character, and I will call him Shido rather Masayoshi Shido, just for my own sake as well, because I keep butchering that. He is a politician, right? So he is aiming to be Prime Minister of Japan.
So the real world's evil.
Yeah. Pretty much how he is doing it is causing people to have mental shutdowns, which is a fancy enough term, meaning that he is manipulating their inner desires through magic technology, which is spoiler territory, and causing them to become so engulfed in their rage and their envy and their lust and whatever, causing them to ram trains into walls and causing complete shutdowns of the train system.
Because
which
Persona.
Yeah, and also causing a lot of other stuff to go down. It's kind of one of those, like, I can't say anything more, but I really want to. But even whenever you're fighting Shido, Shido is actually the embodiment of the Archangel Samael. Samael, who is, if you know enough about religious mythology, is the snake from the Garden of Eden.
He is the angel of poison.
Yes, the poison of God. He is also known in different lore as there's the snake of the tree of life that poisons the tree. It shows up in a lot of things. It's
that's
different
Norse.
religions.
I can't remember the name of the snake, but you're thinking of the snake that poisons the world tree.
Yes, the snake that
the snake that poisons Yggdrasil.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, my apologies. In Kabbalah, Samael is the fifth archangel who took Lilith as his bride whenever she left Adam. Literally, how demons came into play. As I said, I'm a big mythology buff, but I mix them up sometimes, so apologies.
Yeah, demonology is interesting mythology.
Mm-hmm. But it's actually quite interesting because the way Shido operates is how, in some ways, politicians would convince themselves how they work. For instance, he starts off as a winged lion, which is considered the beast of human sacrifices. They are pushing him towards his goal. So he himself has done no wrong because the people want him to do it. Then it's the wings of human sacrifices. They are lifting them up above what is hurting him. So carrying him as you would see a messiah. You get what I mean? Lifting him above the eyes of those who behold him. And then finally, the tomb of human sacrifices, where their own bodies protect him. And that's literally how it goes, is that they push him forward, they lift him up, and then protect them with their own body. That pretty much showing what is wrong when you idolize somebody. So Shido is pride. He is the pride. He takes pride in that he is a person going to lead Japan to glory, even if it means the death of hundreds. And not very nice way either. And that's kind of why I picked the Dark Lord. He is in full knowledge of what he is doing. He fully is aware of what's going on, because with the knowledge of Twisted Desire, he knows that he has it too, but he just doesn't give a shit. He is doing what he believes is right for him, not for everyone else, and he will lead this people to glory. I picked him in particular over so many other Dark Lords. As I said, I did mention Harry Potter, and I did that in the last one, but Voldemort's too on the nose. I needed to go off a little bit into my JRPG realm here. And I picked Shido because he actually is the main reason the protagonist is even there. Your first introduction of him is that he tends to, in a drunken stupor, push a woman into a car so that he could force sexual stuff on her. She's saying no, and you run over going, hey, what are you doing? At which point Shido falls over, smacks his face, and then he calls the police and says that you attacked him. And you end up being put into the juvenile detention system.
Wow. What a douchebag.
Yeah, just a bit. Definitely a politician in that one.
Yep.
And that's it, is that his effects on the world show he, in general, is just a politician, but in his personal life, he actively is a bad guy. He's just generally a dick who'd want, if anything happens, he will just throw someone else under the bus because it's your fault. I think at one point he fires someone because he wouldn't get rid of you fast enough because you're like trying to take a lift and he's there. You don't remember him very clearly because it was dark apparently. And like he fires the guy who was talking to your character because he didn't get rid of you fast enough. He's just that type of prick.
Yeah, that's a prick.
Yeah, I consider Karens to be on a lower level of a Dark Lord because they're willing to get involved, but also they're just actively just trying to ruin your day. So yeah, it's like Karen is like the sub evolution of Dark Lord.
I mean, I think given some of the people we know, they would agree.
Yeah, I'm just picturing Voldemort with a nose and Karen haircut doing the Pokemon evolution. Okay.
Oh God!
If I can find that image, I will put it up just for everyone's
It doesn't exist, I'm pretty sure, but if there's any graphic artists who want to put a link, who want to put that in the comments.
But
hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
But the final thing that I will kind of leave this on, and it's like an interesting point about Shido, is that in the whole time, Shido is aware a lot more than most about these twisted desires. He actually has been pushing on some to get choices made on his behalf. So it's like, I need this person to be a little bit more greedy so they're willing to take my money to do illegal shit. Poke. Get someone else to poke it for him. That's what he's willing to do to win. But it actually says quite clearly he had no reason to be prime minister. He wasn't doing it for anything more than just his own. I want to
vanity.
Be king. Yeah,
it's vanity. It's plain up vanity.
Like there was nothing he was going to do after. It wasn't like he was going to be prime minister and push certain laws through or anything. It was just literally, I want to be prime minister because I want to.
Gee, I'm gonna bite my tongue here because otherwise I'm going to drag in real world events.
Yeah, let's not do that, shall we? But I will.
You know I'm right, and you could very easily do it too.
Yes, absolutely. But I will leave it there, and I think we'll leave the Dark Lord because I don't really think there's much more to say about it, really. Just that Dark Lords aren't usually nice people, and they usually fuck you over pretty hard.
I mean, most villains really aren't usually nice people, to be fair.
Well, some of them can be like trying to do good. They're just doing it in a bad way, as what is about to come up with our someone else's.
Exactly. That is a brilliant segue into our next segment.
Thank you. I thought of it myself.
All right, and with the segue, that brings us into our final category for this episode. Someone else's hero. The hero who could have been if only the script was flipped. Basically, they are not great people, but they're doing what could be seen very easily as the right thing from a different perspective.
Yeah, it's just they are the people's hero, but not being a hero in the way that everyone wants them to be. It's the best way to really phrase it.
That's a fair way to put it.
Yeah,
as I said, a good example was Eric Lancher was Magneto. If you flip the script, he's a hero to mutants.
Yeah, it's just he kills people sometimes, which is not the best thing, or turns them into mutants against their will.
We don't talk about that. That was the movies.
But you get what I mean all the same. It's just like, yeah, I get what you mean. And of course, in some aspect, even that, making a bad person into a mutant so he understands the pain. But no,
yeah,
exactly
it was a cool idea.
Yeah.
But let's get up. I believe you'll be starting us for the final category.
Yes.
Take it away.
I will be choosing Typhon from Immortal Phoenix Rising. Now, Immortal Phoenix Rising takes some liberties with Greek mythology. It is based in the
That's
Greek
putting it
world.
lightly.
But
Greek mythology buff, fuck you.
but it is a fantastic game. If you enjoy Breath of the Wild style mechanics, and I'm saying that to you, like yours, the mechanics of the whole thing, that not including
we're gonna break all your weapons. Yeah, fuck that. They did that terribly.
Yes. In this one, first of all, I need to make a point, which everyone seems to miss on this. You do not need to pay money past buying the game to play this game in its entirety. The only things that you have there are cosmetic
Real
changes.
world money.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. The cosmetic changes are what you buy with real world money. Other than that, you don't need it. You're going to have everything that you possibly need for the game.
All the characters you can get are unlockable in the game, except for the new DLC characters, which they brought out.
Yeah, which is then you have to buy the DLC, which is like, yeah.
Separate from microtransactions.
Exactly. Well, that's another day. But in general, I think they're both bad in their own right. But yeah. The reason I
let it be known when we do a microtransactions when we talk about microtransactions in an episode, there's just going to be a lot of rage back and forth.
Yes, it very much
is.
It's
going to be a salt mine episode.
No, one of the main things about Typhon that's different is the way it looks. Typhon does not have 100 dragon heads as he does in the actual Greek mythology. In this one, he's kind of like skeletal, buff and skeletal at the same time. I believe
that out.
I believe it was mainly just to make him look more devilish. If you get my feel, he's just
and 100-headed dragon isn't devilish.
I'm also going to say it's a lot harder to animate in general design because 100 heads trying to animate each individual one. Yeah, it'd be hard.
Oh no, that'd be a programmer's nightmare, let alone the artist.
But the reason I picked Typhon for this in particular is Typhon's whole point in the game is that the gods and goddesses are abusing their power and torturing mortals. They are doing everything on their own just for their own benefit. And Typhon is just saying, enough. You do not deserve the powers that you have. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, Typhon eventually ended up trapped under Mount Olympus in Italy. Isn't that right?
Something like that. It's been a while since I've researched on Typhon.
Yeah.
It's not like it's Atlas, who everybody knows.
Yeah, who also shows up in the game as the storyteller more than
surprise.
Yeah. But Typhon is on the bad side of the hero for the sole purpose of his brother is a demigod. And Typhon, whenever he took the powers of all the gods, turned all demigods into stone. And then the gods were reverted back to what would be classified as their original shape. Aphrodite ends up a tree. Love that. Absolutely find that hilarious.
Tree? Wouldn't she become a swan?
No, she was sea foam. That was.
Oh wait, yes. Technically, she was born of sea foam.
Yep, but she was turned into a tree because that was.
We're not even going to get into that. The real reasons on that. We're not touching that.
But yeah, what it was is that they were turned into true representations of themselves with like their power. So she was turned into a tree because her whole goal was supposed to be to give life, to give love and nature and all that shit.
I mean, a rose bush would have been more apt.
Yeah, but
meter would have been more apt to be a tree, but anyway.
Nitpicky. And then of course Aries, which is hilarious.
Again, Greek mythology buff. Fuck you.
And then Aries, who is the god of war, got turned into a chicken, who I love. I find it the funniest thing. And Zeus picks on his son the entire time. This is like, perfect. Don't give him back his powers. Like, honestly, you hear this like,
yeah, that sounds like Zeus.
Yeah, you hear like Zeus and Atlas talking in the background, like, what would it be? Just narrators throughout the entire story. And legitimately to like Zeus just says, this is so good, never change this. Like he stays a chicken. It's like, no, we need it for the story. Like, damn it.
Wait, they break the fourth wall?
Oh,
nice! Nice! You see,
so
now that
good.
fits. That actually fits since a god and a titan are talking, it kind of fits if they'd be able to break the fourth wall.
Yeah, and the funny thing as well is that this whole thing is the story of the protagonist against Typhon and everything is actually a story being told by Atlas in real time. So while it's happening, Atlas is telling Zeus.
That's even better.
Yeah, so they break fourth wall all the time, but it's like pausing the story, but your character's still running about and everything. I won't tell you how it ends. I won't spoil that much, but I will say
too new. It's too new.
Yeah, but Typhon actively is annoyed at your character, and that's the one thing that I love, is that your protagonist is giving the powers back to the gods, and Typhon is pissed. He's like, "What the hell are you doing? I just saved you all from the slaughtering, murderous, rapist gods, and you're giving them back their power because what? I turned a few people to stone. They turned thousands of people into dust, into shipwrecks, continuously just screwing with people, and you're doing this." Like, he actively, genuinely is pissed, which you don't see most in villains. Yes, you ruined my plan, I hate you, nah. But this is like a guy who like feels that you should be on his side and yet turning against him. So that's why I picked him, is that I genuinely picked up hurt. He was hurt that humans he is trying to protect were turning against him all the same. And of course, as Haya affects the world, he turned people to stone. I imagine it didn't really run very well. And of course, he opened up holes into Tartarus. So yeah, monsters popping up left, right, and center. It wasn't
Yeah,
exactly
that's kind
good.
of a problem.
Yeah, a little bit. There are references to like previous battle Typhon had with Zeus. There were actually in Zeus won it with using his thunderbolts. So the first thing that Typhon did was he stole Zeus's thunderbolts and hit them in Tartarus. You actually go to find them later on.
Not surprised.
Yeah, and that's actually why Zeus went to Atlas in the first place. He's like, he stole my thunderbolts. I don't know what to do now. Like literally, he's like,
talk to Hephaestus,
who has been turned into a robot. Like, yeah, just a bit. So yeah, Hephaestus is gone. Athena is gone. Aries is gone, and Aphrodite. So with those four who are like Zeus's main could go to people,
hey Kratos, you
fucked
your heart out.
Yeah, well, they actually joke. I really say to you all, if you ever want to pick a game out of these that I've talked about, pick Immortal Phoenix Rising as your next game to get. It's worth the time. It's worth the effort. It's hilarious. I swear to goodness, I was in stitches over some of the stuff.
Than Breath of the Wild.
Well, this is the thing that I say.
They do better dungeons.
Yes, they do. There's none of this. It's very. Sorry, I'm trying to get my words right here. It's not ableist.
None of this pseudo dungeon crap.
Yeah, like you have stamina wheels and all this type of thing. At one point, you actually gain the ability to slow arrows down so that you can hit targets and stuff. So, and that works off your stamina wheel, which you can increase.
If that ain't Hermes. If that ain't related to Hermes.
No, Hermes is there though.
Well, of course he has to be there. He's Hermes, though.
And he is the twink. And he is called the twink.
How would Typhon catch Hermes? Because Hermes can just nope out of any situation, basically.
Yeah, well, that's how you meet Hermes, is that Hermes is being chased by Typhon because he's like, you little shit. And he's just like, peace out.
Because Hermes is Hermes.
Yeah. But that's my take on someone else's hero. I hope you enjoyed. And our final one also goes to Mike Kills. Go ahead, sir.
All right. This was a hard one. I had a lot of options, honestly. I really did.
It is a big trope used a lot in video games.
It is, and there's some really good examples. As I've mentioned, I could have picked Magneto, and yes, mainly comic book, but there's been enough X-Men games, god damn it. But I chose to choose one that no one's going to think of as someone else's hero.
Mm-hmm.
I chose Samuel Hayden from Doom 2016. Specifically Doom 2016 version, okay?
Okay.
Because if you really look at it, throughout the game, you see what he's done. He ended an energy crisis. He saved humanity from destroying itself. He basically brought world peace through solving the problem of energy.
Mm-hmm.
There was no more need to fight over resources like for energy because he had solved it.
Yeah.
And if you look at it from most humanity's perspective, who don't know what's going on, That's a fucking hero. He brought world peace. I mean, do I need to say more on that? But you find out you're as the Doomslayer. Yeah, all that world peace stuff and all that energy that came at a price. Let's see, human sacrifice, unleashing demons, going into hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he did some bad shit to get that.
Yeah.
That's why he's someone else's hero. From your perspective as the Doomslayer, dude be messing with shit he shouldn't be messing with. Dude got to be stopped. The operation's got to end.
Yes.
But through all your journey, you are just breaking his shit. I mean, there's the Argent Tower where you break the fucking focusing lenses that allow this energy to be harnessed for humanity.
How dare you?
And then at the end of the game, he takes the demonic crucible from you to restart his work, and it just says, I can't kill you, but I can make sure you're not a threat to me right now. I am not the villain in this story. This evil is necessary. And if you really look at it, that is the quintessential someone else's hero. They view the evil that they're doing as necessary for the greatest good for all of the people.
Yep.
And he kind of just does that. He does that in spades.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, actually. That line as well, I am not the villain of this story. It's definitely one of those moments where you just have to rethink everything that you've been doing up to now and be like, oh, you know what, actually? Now you say it, yeah, I'm a bit of a dick to you, but...
You were messing with hell. You
Yeah.
were unleashing demons and killing and having mass sacrifices. Yeah, kind of a villain, bitch.
Just a tad.
Asshole, you man, motherfucker, you just kind of evil. But why I picked him, no one's gonna think. Most people aren't gonna think of him as the someone else's hero archetype. They might think of him as like a mastermind or something like that. And no, he's not. He is someone else's hero.
Yeah.
I could have picked very obvious ones, but I chose him because he's not the obvious example. And his effect on the world. Hello, he brought world peace. If that's not an effect on the world, what is?
You know what? Fair.
Granted, yeah, he kind of all the above mentioned. Yeah, so yeah, his effects are kind of the effects of him, and everything he did is kind of shown throughout Doom 2016. Though, I mean, a lot of it could be argued it's Olivia Pierce, but he condoned it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He gave her the green light for all that shit. He knew about it. 99% of the shit she did, he knew about. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think pretty much we can end it there. It's pretty clear. It's just like, yeah, he bad. Nothing really else to be said to that. It's just, oh, he dirty.
Yeah. Let's see. Dirty deals done dirt cheap.
Yeah, that's pretty much the way to go.
Sorry, AC/DC, but you made a good line there.
No, that's true, right? All right. Well,
good song, by the way.
No, I definitely can't disagree there. But I think with that, we have covered all of our topics for today. I think we did pretty well.
Anyone who wants to comment on the fact that we missed a category, the bully, we opted not to cover this because it's very hard to cover in 90% of games.
Yeah.
You really don't see the bully archetype outside of school stuff.
And bear in mind, we're talking about for main villains, not minions. Yes, there are many minions who would be classified as bullies, aka Jesse and James and things like that from Pokemon series, but they're not what we would classify as the villain. It's
exactly. I mean, okay, maybe I could have argued in a way Blue from the original Pokemon series, but is he?
Yeah,
Is he really? He's a rival, but he's not. He's a
villain.
dick. He's a rival, but he's not a villain.
It's not like he joined Team Rocket or anything. You know,
that'd go more to the guy from that. Well, no, even then, he hates Team. I was about to mention Gen 2 with Gold and Silver, but no, that guy hates Team Rocket.
Yeah, and even N from what was it, Black and White? Was that the one where he's trying to? He was doing that to rescue Pokemon. That would be someone else's hero rather than being.
Yeah, and even him, he does a heel turn on him, like, and just looks at the guy he was working with, like, you're a dick. You're evil. I am doing this to help people and to help Pokemon. You're just evil. I'm going to side with this guy now because I was wrong about him. This hero gets it. He understands. He wants Pokemon and people to actually live in harmony.
That's
so
right,
even N really doesn't fit.
But we'll have to consider it. Maybe if anyone's able to come up with an additional point, we might be able to bring it up in the next video. We do definitely want comments.
Yes, we'd rather comments on the video rather than just contacting us directly, because that way we can organize things better. We'd rather comments, because otherwise we run the risk of just getting the conversations, and we're looking for comments to read, not conversations to read. Exactly. No offense, because we love our friends talking to us about these, but
having them on the video helps us out a little bit more anyway.
It allows us to do what we wanted to do with the intros to our episodes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like us, before we finish it for today, do we have any final points?
Don't be a dick, don't be a villain. How's that for a final point, huh?
Well, if you're going to be a villain, be a mustache twirler, because they're always the most fun.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I think we need to cover what we're going to talk about in our next episode.
Yes, so we've decided that in this series we're going one to the other, seeing both sides of the coin. So next video...
no. We have something else to cover before we go into that, back to the other side of the coin. NPCs and side characters. I feel we need to lump them in together, just because it's going to be a real bitch to cover them as separate things, especially the NPCs one.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
Now, for this one, it'll be a different format for that, because you aren't looking for archetypes. We're just going to be talking about them as a thing.
Yes, exactly. No, we will be talking about both the good and the bad. So
this first episode will be mostly covering the good.
Yeah, but there will most likely be some sort of crossover anyway. And then with the covering of NPCs and side characters, it is mainly just in the focus of where are they utilized properly, where is it that they come into the story, and when does it feel like they've been shooting just because of reason X.
Yeah. This one might take a little bit longer to get out, just because we're going to be doing more research.
Yeah.
We'll try to have this done at the same time, but there may be a delay just because this is going to be one we really want to make sure we get right, because this is a harder. We've covered the two things we've done now were easy.
Yeah.
Now that we're getting into NPCs and side characters, and when we get into our other things afterwards, the flip side, the badly done protagonists and antagonists, this is going to get harder.
But we didn't start this just to be quitters. We knew that we were getting into it. So
we had a plan starting for this first season, and we're going to do it.
But all the same, everyone, we hope you've all enjoyed, and hopefully you join us next time as well on another episode of the Gamer's Perspective podcast.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Ta-ta. Farewell.
Auf Wiedersehen. Sayonara. До свидания. Let's see. What other ones do I know?
This is where you just show up here on the end.
Oh fuck yeah! You think I'm not gonna start looking at this in between episodes now to look for other languages?